What if everything you know about human history is a lie? Imagine walking through a world of ruins so vast, so impossibly large, that humans could never have built them, yet they existed just a few centuries ago. What civilization could have created such structures, and why did they vanish without a trace? Today, we're diving into the hidden past through the eyes of Europe's mysterious ruin painters, and what they reveal might change everything you thought about humanity's origin. European painter Giovanni Perez and many of his contemporaries once sparked intense debate across the art world. Their paintings weren't mere fantasies, they appeared to document a world reshaped by some forgotten global catastrophe. Perez was only one among a whole group of artists, often called ruin painters, who created scenes where everyday Europeans lived and moved among colossal, ancient structures left behind by a civilization no one could clearly identify. These were not just pieces of art, they were visual records of a strange past. A world where nobles, merchants, and ordinary laborers existed in the shadows of enormous stone monuments. Some of those structures still stand today, either restored, redesigned, or recreated. But many more vanished quickly, dismantled for practical use or swallowed by time. What puzzles historians even more is that these artists painted with near photographic accuracy. They captured the landscapes around them exactly as they appeared. So why would the same painters, who precisely depicted structures that still exist, suddenly invent massive ruins that supposedly never existed? On what basis do we separate real ruins from imagined ones? A more logical explanation is that the painters were documenting the world exactly as they saw it. And that world was far stranger than we imagine. In 16th to 17th century Europe, farmers, shepherds, and traders can be seen walking beneath towering stone arches and giant domes. These buildings weren't their creations, nor their ancestors. Instead, they looked like tiny creatures wandering through the abandoned shells of a forgotten supercivilization. The contrast is severe: small, simple human activities set against impossibly massive architecture. Shepherds graze cattle beneath arches taller than modern buildings. Merchants set up tiny stalls beneath endless colonnades. Their tools, skills, and lifestyle were primitive, yet behind them rose structures that seemed to belong to another world entirely. And this contradiction deepens when examining the architectural details. Doorways, windows, ceilings, everything was absurdly oversized for human use. These designs were impractical, freezing in winter, scorching in summer, echoing and uncomfortable. So why build on such an enormous scale? Who were these monuments really meant for? Two possibilities emerge. Keycap 1: the builders were physically gigantic. Keycap 2: or their technology was so advanced that constructing at such scale was effortless. The first idea is dramatic but unsupported. There are no fossil records of giant humans. The second possibility, however, fits far better. These works were made by a civilization with engineering far beyond anything the 17th century, or even our modern era, could replicate. But still, why the gigantic doors? Why cavernous halls? Perhaps because they were never designed for humans. So who were the real builders? What kind of machines, tools, knowledge, and energy did they command? When you consider the limitations of 16th century technology, it becomes obvious, those people could not have recreated even a fraction of these structures. They lacked cranes, calculations, machinery, mineral processing, everything. It would be like ants trying to repair a supercomputer without understanding what it is. The paintings hide more mysteries. Giovanni Paolo Panini's canvas, for example, shows a strange Roman pyramid unlike any known structure. Its proportions don't match existing designs, and it seems to contain no usable chambers at all. So what was its purpose? Aesthetics? Or some unknown technological function? To the forgotten builders, these monuments were nothing extraordinary, just everyday infrastructure. Just as a smartphone would seem like magic to an isolated tribe, these structures may have been routine for their creators. But this raises a terrifying question. Where did that advanced civilization go? Ruin painters' works show destruction not caused by war, no burn marks, no melted stone, no explosives. Instead, erosion, weather, and long neglect. Yet some ruins appear thousands of years old while structures beside them look almost new. This inconsistency suggests our historical timeline may be wrong. Modern photography shows that natural erosion occurs far slower than official estimates, often 1/10 the speed. Meaning a structure labeled as 600 to 700 years old may actually be only 80 to 100 years old at the time it was painted. Something catastrophic clearly happened around the 1700s, a mysterious global reset of some kind. Around this time, European calendars suddenly shifted from year 7208 to *1700. Asterisk as if someone intentionally chopped away the past and enforced a new historical narrative. Why? Because the new rulers, who survived the catastrophe, needed legitimacy. They could not admit they were living among the ruins of giants or super-engineers. So they created a 1,000-year dark age, historical vacuum designed to erase the existence of the previous civilization. Their goals were: Keycap 1 to legitimize their new authority. Keycap 2 to control people by rewriting history. Keycap 3 to claim the achievements of the previous civilization as their own. This leads to an unsettling theory. Backhand index pointing right. What if humans were not heirs of that ancient civilization? Backhand index pointing right. What if we were created or selected by them, helpers, assistants, domesticated beings? The same way humans keep dogs or livestock. If so, then our earliest rituals and religious practices may actually be distorted memories of their technology, like praying to icons that were once communication devices. If we were their domesticated species, then what happened to them? And what purpose did we originally serve? Just as humans build prepared habitats for pets, maybe someone built the first great cities for early humans, ready-made environments designed for survival. The ruins might have been our first enclosures, not our ancestors' masterpieces. These massive structures were not built for humans. The builders came before us. We merely inherited their leftovers. The final questions are the most disturbing. Backhand index pointing right. What were we created to protect? Backhand index pointing right. What hidden value does our environment hold? Backhand index pointing right. And why were we abandoned? The answers may be found in the ruined paintings themselves. If we learn to read the silent language of those ancient structures, we may finally uncover our true origin. That is why the ruined painters left their art. Not to beautify the world, but to leave us clues. Clues to rediscover who we really are.